In this last module on kinship, we will continue with our understanding of Airavati Karve's kinship map. Here, we will see the central, southern and eastern zones. The central zone. The central zone comprises of the following linguistic regions: Rajasthan, where Rajasthani is spoken; Madhya Pradesh, where Hindi is spoken; Gujarat and Kathiawad, where Gujarati and Kathiawadi are spoken; Maharashtra, where Marathi is spoken; and Orissa, where Oriya is spoken. Rajasthani, Hindi, Gujarati, Kathiawadi, Marathi, Oriya are all languages of Sanskritic origin, and so from the point of view of the language spoken in this zone, it has a lot of affinity to the northern zone. But within this zone, there are large pockets of people speaking languages of the Dravidian family, and also some areas where the Austroasiatic languages are spoken. Every one of the above regions contain primitive tribes at all stages of assimilation to the predominant agricultural economy of the zone. There are some tribes like the Korkus in the north central Maharashtra who are still in the stage of food gatherers and dependent hunters, while there are others like the Bills who are indifferent agriculturists, and Kolams and Varlis who are skilled rice growers. The presence of these tribal communities must have been of great influence towards the shaping of the kinship pattern of the various communities of this zone. The central zone lies between the northern and southern zones and includes some regions of the eastern zones. Kinship organization in the central zone. As regards kinship organization in every region we have discussed above, besides following the northern practices described in the previous module, it also has certain castes which show a new type of mating, the marriage of a man to his mother's brother's daughter, which is the same as the marriage of a girl to her father's sister's son. The second feature in the kinship organization of this zone is that many of the castes are divided into exogamous clans. The third is that among some castes, the exogamous clans are arranged in a hypergamous hierarchy. That is, a girl in a lower clan can marry a man of a higher clan, but a girl in a higher clan may not marry a man in a lower clan. Rajasthan, Kathiawad and Gujarat is a region where only Sanskrit languages are spoken, though there are some non-Sanskritic words in daily speech. The kinship pattern is predominantly northern, though a few customs have similarities with southern customs. Some groups practice one type of cross-cousin marriage as a permissive form of marriage, that is, the marriage of a man to his mother's brother's daughter. Hypergamy and one type of cross-cousin marriage seem to be two aspects of one and the same social relationship arising out of the amalgamation of different ethnic elements. Maharashtra is a region where the overwhelming majority of people speak a Sanskritic language. There are, however, semi-primitive people in the east who speak Dravidian languages, that is, Gondi and Kolami. The Marathi language has also a considerable number of Dravidian origin in its vocabulary since the earliest times. The majority of castes and tribes practice one type of cross-cousin marriage, that is, mother's brother's daughter marriage. In central and northern Maharashtra, there is a definite taboo on the other type of marriage, that is, father's sister's daughter marriage, though it occurs in South Maharashtra. In North Maharashtra, levirate is allowed among many castes. In Central and South Maharashtra, it is not allowed. The Marathas, the most numerous of the Maharashtra castes, show a hypergamous clan structure. It is the region most affected by southern practices and its kinship behavior. Kinship terms, folk songs and literature all show it is a region of cultural borrowings and cultural synthesis. More than 1/4 of the population of Orissa is tribal population. Languages belonging to the three major linguistic families in India are spoken in this region, but as the region is cut up by rivers, hills and forests, there has not evolved such a homogeneous mixed culture as in Maharashtra. Still, all ethnic groups are affected by one another and copy each other's practices. The Oriya speaking groups generally show a northern pattern, though many agriculturists allow cross-cousin marriage of one type only. Thus, the central zone, though differing in its various areas, has one thing in common, which is that many of its castes practice one type of cross-cousin marriage and have a definite taboo or aversion towards the other type of cross-cousin marriage. It forms in many ways a region of transition from the north to the south. The southern zone. Linguistic regions. The southern zone is here intended to cover those areas of southern and central India where the Dravidian languages are spoken. For our purpose, it is convenient to divide this zone into regions: Karnataka, where Kannarese or Kannada language is spoken; Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, where Telugu is spoken; Tamil Nadu, where the name of both the spoken language and the people is Tamil; Kerala or Malabar, where the language spoken is Malayalam; and a region that expands north of Andhra Pradesh from the forests of the lower reaches of the Godavari river through Bastar and western Orissa into southern Bihar. This is a region of mixed languages and peoples. The dominant populations are tribal people, the most important among them being the Koya, Gond and Kond who speak Kui, the Kola who speak Kolami and the Oran who speak Kuruk. Besides these tribes who speak Dravidian languages, there are various other tribes speaking Munda and Austro-Asiatic languages such as the Bondo, Gadaba and Boro of Orissa, the Ho, Santal and Khan of Bihar and Bengal. The family organization of Dravidian speaking peoples of this region reveals differing degrees of contact and assimilation with neighboring elements. The southern zone presents a very complicated pattern of kinship systems and family organization. Though the patrilineal and patrilocal family is the dominant family type for the great number of castes and communities, there are important sections of the population which are matrilineal and matrilocal, and quite a number whose systems possess features of both type of organizations. As in the rest of India, most castes in this zone allow the practice of polygyny, and there are some who practice both polyandry and polygyny. In Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and among certain important castes of the Malabar, the predominant form of family organization is the patrilineal and patrilocal joint family. The family is composed of similar categories of kin as in the north. The males are born and live all their lives in the house of their paternal kin, while their wives are brought in from other families, and the girls born in the family are given away as brides into other families. But in this zone, among the western and southern people, in Malabar, the Nayar, Tiyan, some Mohammedan Mopla and in the Kannara district, the Bant, the family is matrilineal and matrilocal. One such institution, which seems to be almost universal in the southern zone, is the system of exogamous clans. These clans are exogamous divisions in an endogamous caste or tribe. There are patrilineal clans among patrilineal people and matrilineal clans among matrilineal people. Marriage preferences and taboos. In a large number of cases, the first preference is given by a man choosing his elder sister's daughter as a bride. There are innumerable instances of such marriages. A man's elder sister is given in marriage to a family which is led into an obligation to give the daughter of the marriage back to the family from which they had originally received the bride. The marriage of a woman to her maternal uncle, that is, of a man to his sister's daughter, is taboo among all matrilineal communities of the South which have been examined. Among the preferred marriages, a man's marriage with his father's sister's daughter, that is, a woman marrying her mother's brother's son, comes next among a very large number of castes. The family which gives a daughter expects one in return. The third type of preferential mating is that of a man with his maternal uncle's mother's brother's daughter. There are some castes like the Havik Brahmins of Karnataka, the Kallar of Tamil Nadu, some types of Reddy in Andhra and many others who allow only this type of cross-cousin marriage. Besides all these marriages which are preferred types, there are also quite a number of marriages outside the group of close kin. These happen if there is no suitable mate in one's own kin group. Cross-cousin marriage and especially the uncle-niece marriage are now more commonly considered as outmoded and a thing to be ashamed of among these groups. The complicated kinship relations arising in a family owing to maternal uncle-niece marriage and cross-cousin marriage sometimes result in two people being related to each other in more ways than one. The summary characteristics of the Dravidian kinship organization. The Dravidian kinship organization is thus fundamentally different from that of the northern zone. The kin in the immediate family is arranged not according to generations but according to age categories of older than ego and younger than ego. Marriage is outside the exogamous kin group called Balli or Bedagu or Kilai, which has similarities to totemistic clans. Exchange of daughters is favored and marriage among close kin is the preferred one. The rules for marriage as deduced from kinship behavior are: one must now marry a member of one's own clan, a girl must marry a person who belongs to the group older than self and also to the group younger than the parents. Therefore, she can marry any of her older cross cousins as also the younger brother of her mother. A boy must marry a girl belonging to a group younger than self and who is a child of the group older than self. He can therefore marry any of his younger female cross cousins and also a daughter of any of his elder sisters. This results in reciprocal relations and reciprocal kinship terms. The categories of kin are not blood relations and in-law relations as in the north, but blood relations whom one may not marry and blood relations whom one may marry. A man does not bring a stranger as a bride to his home. A woman is not thrown among complete strangers on her marriage. Marriage strengthens existing bonds. The emphasis is on knitting families closer together and narrowing the circle of the kin groups, a policy exactly the opposite of the one followed in the north. The whole tone of the southern society is different. The distinction between the father's house and the father-in-law's house is not as sharp as in the north. The distinction between daughters and brides or wives is not as deep as in the north. A girl's behavior in her husband's family is much freer. After all, her husband is either her uncle or her cross cousin and his mother is either her own grandmother or her aunt. Neither is she separated for long periods from her parents' house. The custom of marrying close kin results in girls being given in marriage of families living not too far from their house, and there is much visiting between the two houses. The girl goes often and on long visits to her parents and almost always for childbirth. The north represents the principle of extended exchange, a policy of expansion, incorporation of outsiders as wives into the family, leading to great stresses and strains, a double standard of women's behavior pattern, a wise circle of kin, a society having a pastoral economy or an agricultural economy supported by pastoral pursuits. The south represents the principle of immediate exchange, a policy of consolidation, a clustering of kin group in a narrow area, no sharp distinction between kin by blood and kin by marriage, greater freedom for women in a society which was mainly agricultural, with very few or almost no pastoral traditions. The Eastern Zone. In this zone are included some of the people of the Northeast and the East. The northern, central and southern zones are compact and geographically similar. The Eastern Zone shows neither of these characteristics. The Mundari and Mokmer languages belong to a language family called the Austro-Asiatic family of languages. Languages of this family are spoken by many peoples of Southeast Asia. All these people live as scattered groups among people living other languages like the Tibeto-Burmese, Chinese, Aryan and Dravidian. The westernmost people of this group are the Korku, who live in central India in the Satpura and Vindhya ranges. The easternmost people are the Anamis on the southeastern coast of the Asiatic mainland. The southernmost people are the primitive Sakai and Semang living in the jungles of Malay Peninsula. The northernmost people are the Khasi of Assam in India. The Austro-Asiatic languages are divided into two great groups of languages, the Monkmer and the Mundari. Of these, the people who speak Monkmer languages are all, with the exception of the Khasi, outside and to the east of India. Those who speak Mundari are found in central and eastern India. Even when one confines oneself to those tribes of the above group who are resident in India, it is very difficult to describe their kinship organization as belonging to one pattern or type. These people represent remnants of a once more widespread and numerous group. Today, they live scattered, surrounded by later immigrants. They have borrowed much from their neighbors whose material culture far surpasses theirs. They have no writing to give a definite clue to their laws and traditions. Every aspect of their life has been influenced by the others. It is necessary to find out at least approximately what type of social organization they represent. The best guide for this is their own society as it exists at present, their own traditions as regards their past, and any record of them which may be available in the literature of the two literate partners. There are many unique matrilineal kinship traditions found among the communities in the Eastern Zone, like among the Khasi. On the contrary, some communities are strongly patrilineal too. To understand the Eastern Zone, interesting studies focused on each community have been carried out. Since the time when these descriptions were made by Airavadi Karve, all these zones have seen a blend of cultures, political and social development, exposure to westernization, apart from staggering impacts by a globalized economy. This has made the zones a unique tapestry of kinship and family norms which make India a true blend of human relationships. The one unchanged notion is still the prime significance given to family, kinship and marriage. Thank you.